Hey you guys, Dr. Cade again, and I'm sitting here with Coach Cason, and hopefully you are not getting sick of us yet. We are doing a little series here on how to heal through this hurricane and make sure that some of the things that we're facing, whether it's emotional, whether it's chemical, whether it's physical, don't turn into bigger things, whether it's short term or the long term. So today, we're going to be talking a little bit about the liver. Right? And I think it's important to continue to look through this lens of stress through, again, mental, chemical, and physical. So we talk about the liver and want to make sure that we say, do everything we can to minimize new exposure, right? Mm-hmm. And so again, whether it's mold, whether it's the drywall dust, whether it's, stress, whatever it is, we want to do our best to minimize exposure to things that are going to continue to hold our immune system hostage and our ability to adapt hostage, okay? So that's a big one. And what does the liver do? We talk about detoxification pathways, and I mean pretty much everything that we're exposed to, whether we're eating it, whether we're putting it on our skin, right, whether we're breathing in, our liver has to deal with that as a burden, correct?
Yeah, we were just talking about the lungs and breathing in toxins, and before this video I was like, so when we breathe in, Dr. Cade, does that go into our blood, and then our liver, if we breathe in a toxin, does our liver have to deal with that?
Yep.
And it sure does. So yeah, it's doing a lot to keep our blood clean and our body free of toxins.
So one of the things that we had talked about in the past in some of our detoxification videos is that when we put on something on our skin like deodorant or a chapstick or makeup or lotion, right, within 26 seconds when we put that on our skin, all of the ingredients that are in that product are found in the bloodstream in every organ in the body, and so it happens really fast through the skin because of how it permeates our skin. But it's even faster when we breathe it in. It's even faster when we breathe it in, right? And so again, what we want to do now, again, we're not talking about the lungs right now. We're talking about the liver. But let's jump into some techniques for the liver, and we're going to kind of walk through a couple things that you can start taking action on. And again, just another reminder: we don't expect you to be perfect, and I'm sure it's impossible to be perfect through the stresses that you're dealing with. But every little thing that you do, whether you're focusing on the lungs, the liver, the lymph, stress, sleep, whatever it is, all these little things are going to add up and allow your body to get through this in a better, healthier way on the other end, right? So got a couple things written down. So when we talk about minimizing exposure to new stuff, we've already talked about lungs and breathing in. What about food? Right now it's probably going to be easy to get your hands on whatever you can, correct?
Right.
But food is going to create a toxic load too. So what are the big things that people need to do their best to stay away from food-wise?
Well, we have this standard American diet that the acronym is SAD, believe it or not, but it is SAD. It's the best that we can do to try and find some real whole foods, some greens or some fruits that are in season, grass-fed meats,
pastured animal products,
animal product, anything that's real, whole, and living like it should. Can definitely help our liver to be less burdened, because what's in the highly processed and highly toxic standard American diet is stuff that our liver has to deal with.
Absolutely. So if you want an acronym to take with you and have a little bit of fun with your friends and family, we always just say JERF. JERF, right? JERF, just eat real food. And I mean, it keeps it pretty simple, So, with our kids, we like to say, if God made it, then we eat it. If man made it, then we do our best to stay away from it. And again, we don't expect you to be perfect, but go ahead and JERF away, okay? So let's go into some supplementation, and we'll talk, we'll kind of split this up into herbal stuff, right? So if people are plant-based and want to stay on plant-based, there's some things that they can incorporate food and supplement-wise. And then we'll talk about some animal products and some maybe a little bit more potent kind of supplementation to help support the liver. So one of my favorites herbal-wise is dandelion. And and you brought that up right away when I was asking you. And we used to do, when we were trying to get off coffee for a little bit, we used dandelion tea, and we used dandelion, it was called Dandy Blend. One of our patients actually brought that to you. Shout out to Lacey. So dandelion, or Dandy Blend, and it's just roasted dandelion, and it tasted pretty dang great. But again, you can get this in like a liver tea. You can get that all by itself through dandelion root. You can get dandelion greens and incorporate that into your salads and your diet. But that will help allow the liver to heal, give the liver literally the building blocks to heal and regenerate and continue to function at its best. So other things, I think we talked about turmeric, we talked about burdock, food-wise, beets, was it radishes, right? Radishes.
Yeah. Anything that's got any real food, plants, dandelion greens. I don't know if you've ever eaten dandelion greens, but they're super bitter. And Dr. Stephen Gundry, he wrote The Plant Paradox. He says more bitter, more better. So those phytonutrients, those polyphenols that are in those greens and reds, they can really help the liver to detoxify.
Color's a beautiful thing, right?
Yeah.
So milk, this will be another good one, and that's in a lot of the teas. If you're looking for a great supplement to start, Gaia Herbs makes a good one called Liver Cleanse. That's got a great, spectrum of the things that we're talking about here, plus some more, and just incorporate it. And right now, if you're doing that, knowing that you're going to be exposed or already are exposed, dose up on it for a little while. This is just food. It's concentrated food. Your body's going to use what it needs, and it's going to get rid of what it doesn't. So taking it a step further, I think supplementation is the next one, maybe a little bit more potent. So one of our favorites is NAC, N-acetylcysteine. And this one is kind of under attack a little bit by the FDA, but that may be
for a reason?
Maybe for a reason. Maybe we should play nice there. But N-acetylcysteine is fantastic stuff, and this is basically the precursor to glutathione. Glutathione's the body's master antioxidant, and it's made in the liver, and I prefer taking NAC over glutathione because we don't necessarily know how taking glutathione down-regulates our body's own production of it. So I'm always a fan of NAC, and you can dose up high if you know that you're exposed. If you're doing good and minimizing your exposure, put it in the medicine cabinet and save it for the next time. It's also great for respiratory congestion, respiratory mucus production. So again, if you're being exposed and you're having lung issues like we talked about in the last video, NAC is a great thing to incorporate. Glutathione, if things are a little bit worse, you can always do glutathione. And then what about glandular stuff? You want to talk a little bit about actually taking liver?
Yeah, well, you can support your organ by eating the cells of another organ. So there's a huge ancestral health movement right now for liver and eating it. So not only is it loaded with a full spectrum of nutrient density, but it offers us what are those cells called that replicate into our body?
Stem cells?
Yeah, or like some kind of mimicry or something like that. Like the cells of the liver, our body recognizes to make more of those liver cells, to re-up our...
To regenerate, yeah. So that's what you're going for. So that's one version, right? So when our body sees liver cells floating around in the bloodstream, right, after we digest it, the body actually thinks it's its own liver starting to fall apart. So it'll increase the innate intelligence in the body towards that liver, right? It will help that liver actually regenerate itself because it's thinking it's falling apart on its own, right?
There you go.
So I love that part of it. But also that animal, if you're getting it from like a grass-fed cow from New Zealand, right? The animal's been, cleanly raised and eaten nothing but the best stuff. That animal has assimilated all the vitamins, all the minerals, all the antioxidants to make a healthy liver. It's the perfectly formulated multivitamin for our own liver. It's beautiful. And then again, if you don't want to eat liver, then just get it in a capsule. It's no big deal. Just get it in a capsule. And so there's a handful of companies out there. We carry one from Enviromedica, but there's Heart and Soil is another fantastic one. And then, the other one is going to be Ancestral Supplements. So we think that would be a great thing. Again, it's just food, and you can use what you like and get rid of what you don't. And then other things to talk about, I think chiropractic is always going to help our body adapt to stress better. CBD is another great one. Acupuncture specifically for the liver, among other things. Massage, we talked about activity, getting outside and getting some fresh air.
Yeah, getting the lymph moving. We're going to talk about the lymph in another video, but sweating, moving our body, getting the cells and the lungs and the heart, everything working to get some movement. So our liver has to work. It has to detox more.
Yeah, I love that. And then last thing before we finish up, emotions that are typically associated with the liver is anger. And so if you are experiencing that, now or in the past or through this process, that can be something that can link with a malfunctioning a liver, right? Or, if we hold on to anger, it can cause malfunction of the liver. So it can go both ways. So you guys just want to make sure that we're providing value and giving you ideas here to help continue your own health journey through this hurricane. So thank you for joining us, and I think the next video we're going to talk a little bit about lymph. And if you have questions, reach out to us. If there's an area that you want us to focus on or talk about more, just send us a message or email us or call us. But thank you for joining us. Again, I'm Dr. Cade, and this is Coach Cason from LifeStrength Health Center. Hopefully we'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.